Hey y'all, I'm Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind scrappywife.com, and today I have a traveler's notebook process video for you. I'm going to be using this cute picture from kind of the end of June of my kiddos at a children's concert at church. I'm planning on using some fun Amy Tangerine prints as well as these circles that I have cut out using the hole punch and a little bit of watercolor in the background. I have a fun bright page planned. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know at the end if you are loving bright colors for summer or if you are totally over it and ready to go into fall. I will put you on fast forward and we will get going. To start out, I'm going to use this mason jar to trace a circle over my picture. In retrospect, I feel like I probably should have sized up my picture just a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to use the elements, the circle elements on the page to kind of cover up the fact that it needed to be just a bit bigger. So I traced the circle on there. I'm going to cut it out and use a circular picture as the basis for my page. Now that I have my picture set, I'm going to use these metallic watercolors from Prima to add some splashes of color across the page. I'm using my Arteza waterbrush, adding a little water to the colors I plan on using, and then with really no specific technique, I'm just gonna splotch them across the page. I just want it to look messy, just a mixture of color. I'm someone that's still into the summer colors. I'm not quite ready for fall. I'm ready for the fall weather. Don't get me wrong. Definitely ready for long sleeve t-shirts and jeans all the time, but I love bright colors and I love them all year round. And so I'm still holding on to bright colors. So I'm just really just splashing them around the page, adding a whole mixture of colors. And then I'm gonna come in with some black splatters after I've dried this off, some black splatters just to break it up, and that will pull in the black and white from the picture that I'm going to use. Now, I am always drawn to these bright patterns, to these pages that Amy Tangerine does. Chamel's another one that I love. I love seeing all the patterns and brightness, and sometimes I don't know how to mix the patterns. I tend to pick one pattern page and then go with solids, but I really wanted to utilize a lot of color on this layout. So what I decided to do was to punch out these circles from that pad of paper that you see over on the left hand side, and I cut them in half, and so I have a bunch of semicircles. I feel like in those smaller bits, just using those patterns in those small ways, I am able to mix them easier, if that makes sense. I feel like if I was using bigger strips or bigger circles, the patterns would be too bold, but when I'm using just these small, these are 1-inch circles cut in half, I'm kind of layering, kind of making a flower out of this picture down here on the right. And that way I'm able to use a lot of the patterns in that pack, get a lot of color on the page, but not one pattern is overwhelming the rest, if that makes sense. I'm using liquid adhesive for this process for no other reason except that I'm almost out of my normal Tombow tape runner. I'm gonna have to put in an order and get some more of that on the way. So I'm just using some of my Tombow liquid adhesive. It also allows me to kind of fidget with the papers a little. They stay wet a little longer. And since I'm layering them underneath the previous row, working from the inside out, it's nice that I'm able to manipulate it a little bit easier in this way. Now there's a lot going on in that bottom right hand corner, and I still have some of these semicircles left, so I decided to carry on the pattern on some different parts of the page, and I'm going to focus on each of the other corners of the page, adding just a few of the semicircles on the edge, kind of creating a frame, in a way framing in the page, bringing your eye across the page in multiple places. And again, I feel like the more you use those patterns, the less overwhelming they are. I'm adding them down here to the left-hand bottom corner. There's no rhyme or reason to the order that I'm doing the patterns in. In fact, I really didn't want there to be a specified pattern. I'm just making sure that two semicircles are not touching the same colors. So I'm just picking them up at random, making sure it's not one that I had just put down, and finishing up here in the upper right hand corner. I wanted to put 5 semicircles like I had done in the other 2 corners, but I felt like it was going to run in to the circle at the bottom too much, so I stopped with 4. And I really like how having the semicircles around the page moves your eye and helps you just see the page, take it all in. My next step is using these new Illustrated Faith Alpha stamps, and I'm going to add the title Super Summer. And for this one, I'm going to go in a circular pattern again and kind of frame out that flower over there on the right. And I like to do piece by piece, letter by letter when I'm moving in that circle pattern. I'm not great at placing them on the block in that way, so I like to be able to manipulate it a little bit more. One tip I have for you is always make sure your acrylic block matches the size of stamp you are using. So this is my smallest acrylic block. It's maybe a 1x1. It's pretty tiny, but that helps me kind of not get the ink everywhere. I still have some trouble sometimes, but I'm getting better. And wrapping up here with Super Summer, I love the fun, kind of whimsical feel of this font. Next, I'm going to grab these cameras. I bought these from a company called Pink & Main. I will link them below. I'm in love with these gorgeous cameras. You see me putting it on. This is the first time I'm using these stamps. I'm trying to get my TN, which is getting a little bit thick, get it flat. And I have one small issue with this stamp. I should have tested it before, my own fault. But I try to come in and go back over it, and it didn't stamp perfectly, but that's okay. I learned my lesson on the next one. It came off much better. So I do have a couple different cameras. Sorry, this one got off camera. I'm still getting back on my game after this crazy summer that has gone on. So that's off camera. And then I'm capturing a few of the sentiments that came on this same stamp set. So I'm going to add the word smile on the right hand side, and then the phrase capture candid moments over on the bottom left. I do want to add some journaling to this spread, so I'm going to use my acrylic block that I use for stamping, and I'm going to draw out a few lines for my journaling. I like doing this. I like the lines. It helps me function better. You can always add more lines if the journaling ends up taking a little bit more. I don't have a typewriter. I know a lot of people like to type out their journaling or type it on the computer. For me, I love to see my handwriting, not because it's great, but because it's a reminder that this is handmade. This is something that I did, and I embrace the imperfection of that handwriting. This was a bright, fun page to put together. Again, let me know in the comments, are you over summer? Are you ready for fall colors to get here? If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button. Also hitting that bell notification button to let you know when I post a new video. I hope you have a fantastic day, and as always, keep it creative.